Well, welcome to today's meeting of the Premises and Personal Licences Subcommittee on Monday the 27th. Oh, no, I beg your pardon. No, that is correct, sorry. Monday the 27th of January 2025. If I just introduce, or maybe the councillors would just like to introduce themselves, and then we can go on to the first election of the chairman.
Councillor Cossons, Kirby Crossward, beg your pardon.
Councillor Dan Cake, Jovic Sands.
Go on, Joe. Who today is standing in as a standby member, and I'm Councillor Anne Wiggins. Number one is to elect a chairman for the meeting. I'm duly elected as the chairman for this meeting, so if I just move up and then we can get started. Oh, do I want to? Oh. Right, any apologies for absence or substitutions?
Thank you, Chair. There are none.
Thank you. Minutes of the last meeting. I have been given a sheet that following that meeting, that there are someone has made two observations which are both on page 6, that Mr. Folger's name was spelt incorrectly, and also that the Dragon Trail is at least 50 metres away from his cottage rather than 15. And please can that be noted when you agree to the minutes or not, please. If I can have a second, I'll propose them. Okay, thank you, Councillor Cousins. Declarations of interest. You're invited to declare any disclosable pecuniary interests or other registrable interests of non-registrable interests and the nature of it in relation to any item on the agenda. Are there any? Councillor Casey? No. I would just like to say I do hold a personal licence, but that has no bearing on this application. Thank you. Right, item 5, report of the Director, Governance and Legal A1, grant of a premises licence for Parkston Railway Club 2024, Hamilton Street, Parkston, Harwich, CO12 4PQ, which can be found on pages 9 to 26. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. We're here today to hear an application for a grant of a premises licence under the Licensing Act 2003. This application is in relation to premises known as the Parkston Railway Club, located at Hamilton Street in Parkston. Application number 2400688 Prem GR. Although these premises have been licensed previously, this application is a fresh application for a new premises licence in the name of Parkston Railway Club 2024 as a community interested company. The applicant has described Parkston Railway Club 2024 as a multi-function community centre consisting of a main hall with a bar, an adjacent bar with seating area, toilets and a cafe. The site also holds a car park. The application does not include the cafe to be licensed under this. The proposed opening hours, Monday, Tuesday and Thursdays 12:30 till 2300 hours, Wednesday 12:30 till midnight, Fridays 12:30 till 1, Saturdays 12 till 1, Sundays 1300 hours to 2300 hours. The proposed licensable activities include the sale of alcohol on and off the premises, boxing and wrestling, performance of dance, exhibition of films, indoor sports, live and recorded music, and the performance of plays. Further details and timings can be found on pages 15 and 16 of the report. The applicant has submitted a plan layout of the premises as part of the application, and that can be found on pages 25. The applicant has outlined steps to promote the 4 licensing objectives. These measures can be found on pages 17 of the report. Representations can be made either against or in support of the application. All responsible authorities, including Essex Police and Essex Fire and Rescue Service, have been consulted as standard procedure. Essex Police have requested 18 conditions to be added to the licence in order to satisfy the licensing objectives. These have been agreed by the applicant during the consultation period, and these can be found on pages 21 to 24. Essex Fire and Rescue Service have not made any representation to this application. If the committee decides to grant the application, you are reminded that all 18 conditions agreed by Essex Police should be attached to the licence. We have a representative here today from Essex Police if the committee have any questions. One representation has been received from a member of the public. This can be found on pages 19 and 20. Chair and members, you'll see that there's 2 grounds of objections on this objection. The first is on the grounds of the premises ownership, and the second is on health and safety. In relation to the premises ownership, this cannot be taken into consideration when making a decision today, as this is not a requirement under the Licensing Act and licensing objectives. I can also confirm that the applicant served the application correctly, including the public notice and in time with the local newspaper in accordance with the Licensing Act. Since receiving the representations, a site visit has been carried out by the licensing authority to go through the concerns, and I understand that the applicant has a further update to bring to the committee today. Although Essex Fire Service have put in no objections, they have advised that they would like to carry out an inspection prior to any opening of the premises to hold licensable activities should the licence be granted. Each application must be considered on its own rights and on its own merits, and how it might impact on the 4 licensing objectives: the prevention of crime and disorder, prevention of public nuisance, public safety, and protection of children from harm. All of the relevant human rights information and Section 182 guidance is available in the report today. Chair and members, you're therefore asked to determine the application, taking into consideration the application as well as the relevant information submitted today and as part of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Members, do you want to ask Mr. Cook anything before we go to the applicant? No. No. Thank you. Right, now we go to the applicant. Please, Mrs. Sturts. The red thing in the middle.
Good afternoon. Firstly, I would like to address the health and safety issues raised. The illuminated fire exit door signs have been replaced with brand new units. This work was carried out on the 11th of the 1st, 2025 by JM Maintenance, who are fully certified. The fire alarms were also checked on that day, and from Sunday the 12th of the 1st, 25, these will now be checked weekly by myself and a record kept. The fire exit by the men's toilet has not been in use for many years. When a disabled toilet was constructed, we were told that we had sufficient exits. This has now been covered up with a curtain and the light above has been blocked out for years, so no one can mistake it for a fire exit. The 2 fire doors in the hall work as they should. I will also be checking these myself on a regular basis and keeping a register. With regards to the fire extinguishers, we have decided to look into using local companies. We are in the process of getting quotes, and once this is done, I will happily pass on the relevant information to you.
Thank you. Councillors, have you got anything you wish to ask the applicant?
So all the health and safety issues in this report have all been dealt with. Thank you.
Yes, they have.
Thank you. Right, now come with the...
Yes, thank you. I'm Gordon Ashford, I'm the Licensing Manager for Essex Police. We'll be very quick. As you can see, my colleague here has negotiated a large number of particularly onerous conditions on the licence, and they're on pages 21 to 24 of your documents. We are more than satisfied that that will meet the needs of all 4 licensing objectives. In particular, concerning the health and safety issues, obviously, should you grant a licence, then the fire brigade, if they're not satisfied, they can either issue a prohibition notice immediately on an inspection that shuts the premises until the errors or whatever are dealt with, or they can issue a fire enforcement notice giving the premises 21 days to conform, or else be prosecuted. To us, that's the areas that should be looked at, the Fire Safety Act, not the Licensing Act 2003. If this was a review of a premises licence, that would be a totally different matter, but this is an application for a new licence, and we're content regarding all 4 licence objectives, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councillors, there is... Before we move on? No? No. Can I ask Mr. Bramall to come and speak, please? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen. This premises licence has been applied for in the name of the Parkston Railway Club 2024 CIC. I dispute their ownership due to the following reasons. On July the 3rd, 2024, the Parkston Railway Club Limited was deregistered by the Financial Conduct Authority. This led to the following consequences. The club became an unincorporated association. It was no longer a legal entity. It could not own property. It now had unlimited liability payable by its members. It has no constitution, rule book, no committee. No general meeting regarding whether to close or continue the club and in what fashion has taken place. On the 11th of November, I found that the club had acquired a CIC status commencing on the 6th of November 2024 as the Parks and Railway Club 2024 CIC. Where, when and how did the 200 members, shareholders of the now defunct PRC Limited agree to this CIC formation? By law, it requires a general meeting or a formal resolution by 75% of its membership shareholders to do so. This CIC has an asset lock to the Unique Women's Network International CIC, a London-based Christian society. Effectively, this removes the shareholders from part ownership of the club to no ownership of the club at all. So, this is the current situation. A very small percentage of the 200 shareholders of the former Parks and Railway Club Limited have formed a CIC. At no time were the remaining PRC Limited shareholders asked to agree with this. There were no resolution and no general meeting. In my objection, I stated the above matter can easily be resolved by the Parks and Railway Club producing a general meeting minutes or a resolution passed by its shareholders. Either of these should be easy to produce. If they exist, why haven't they been produced earlier, thus avoiding this 4-week delay and the need for this meeting? No such documents have been produced, so I can only conclude that they do not exist, and therefore the claims by the Parks and Railway Club 2024 CIC to be the owners of the club are invalid. The owners remain the 200 post-PRC Limited members. My objection on the safety grounds should be self-explanatory, and I trust no licence will be issued until these matters have been addressed. The fact that the emergency exit door signs have not been illuminated despite committee being aware of such for 19 months reflects very badly on the club. Throughout this period, public events had taken place. I'm glad to hear that Sarah Sturts has said to this committee that a regime is now in place. I am concerned, however, on the fact that the emergency fire exit door or the emergency exit door where they temporarily built a disabled toilet has been knocked on the head and said, I don't know who decided that that wasn't an emergency escape. It's always been an emergency escape in the plans. That is my presentation, and I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bramall. Councillor Cousins.
I have a question, please, for Sarah Sturts, if I may. Can we agree, just to be clear, that you completely agree with the 18 conditions that were added in order to get your premises licence through?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Can I ask, I'm looking at the proposed opening hours and the proposed licensable activities, and the proposed licensable activities on the Sunday, they appear to finish at 1 o'clock in the morning, and on the proposed opening hours, they finish at 11 o'clock. And also that if you are able to buy drinks right up until either 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock, there isn't any drinking up time.
The Sunday one, I must have made a mistake. I do apologise. But the agreement that I agreed to was half an hour before, say, because the music has to be off by 10:30. So 10:30 would be the winding down time, music, lights. So it gives people time to drink up and then leave. So we'd finish serving at least 45 minutes before the place would shut.
Thank you. Although looking at this, that doesn't become apparent to me that is what happens, because the end of the evening is the same time for each. And so to me, that says that there isn't any, drinking up time.
I do apologise for that. It must have been a mistake on my part, filling out the licence.
So what you're saying is, I'm not trying to
No. The
lead
premises
you,
would be shut.
but that no one will be able to buy alcohol for half an hour before the very end, so that if it was closed at 11 o'clock, therefore you would finish selling at 10:30. Thank you. Yes, of course.
If it assists, it's not uncommon for some premises to have a licence open hours that mirror their alcohol or whatever entertainment is. It's just one of those things sometimes. So when you find a premises that has had a legal advisor, they'll often have that difference in opening hours and service of alcohol or entertainment, etc. But it's not uncommon to find licences that've got the same terminal hour.
Thank you for that. I think I would just say that whilst it may not be uncommon, I would have sort of just expected it, because otherwise they could be staying on longer, and then it just sort of drags on. That would be my concern. But if would it not be a good idea for there to be a half an hour, and for it to say that, rather than the fact that they can drink up to 11 o'clock? But don't worry, I'll think on it.
Just say if it assists, you could obviously add an extra half hour to the proposed opening hours to ensure there's drinking up. But obviously after the 64 Act, drinking up as a concept doesn't exist, as it were, legislatively, even though practically it's a common sense approach to take.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Casey.
Most of the pubs I go in, if it's 11 o'clock, it's 10:30, it's drinking up, finished. That's it, last order, and they leave. That's what we're talking about. The 1 o'clock, 12:30. Can we put that into the licence to say last orders 12:30 off the premises by 1? Can that be put into the licence? Or is that not the norm? You're the policeman.
So I didn't quite catch all that. I think you were suggesting that in law there has to be a half hour time. It's very rare to. Yes. So in theory, if the opening hours is till 1 o'clock, to negate the ability of people to line up 20 pints of beer at 11 o'clock, you may wish to consider terminating the opening hours only half hour after the time that was on there they've asked for the licence to cover. It appears if there has been some sort of typo, if you leave that typo uncorrected, then in theory, yes, people could line up a lot of drinks and keep drinking until, because consumption is not licensable, it's only the service of alcohol that's licensable. So yeah, you may wish to consider in the light of the applicant's response that it may be prudent to put a half hour on top of their existing asked for times of service and make that the new opening time terminal point.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Casey. Councillor Cousins? Would like to deliberate? Okay. Okay. Okay, we're going to go out and deliberate, and we will be back as soon as we've got our thoughts together. Thank you. Yes.
Just obviously in the representations of Mr. Bramhill, just to clarify, in case it does need clarifying, is they've applied for a licence. If they're applying for a club premises certificate, some of what Mr. Bramhill said would be relevant, because they have to have a constitution, they have to have a rule book, they have to all that sort of thing. But for a licence, that doesn't apply, and as long as they've got a business interest in the premises, then they can apply for the licence. But it would be totally different if they were applying for a club premises certificate, just to assist.
Thank you very much.
Yes, could you just explain that bit in a bit more detail? If they've got a licence, who owns the licence? They.
Yeah, under the Licensing Act 2003, the only requirement for someone to apply for a licence is that they have a business interest in the premises. So we deal with quite often where there are disputes about ownership, tenancy, etc., etc. But they're all sort of immaterial. They're a separate argument. They're a civil law matter. The Licence Act is asking, do they have a business interest? And quite clearly, this premises appears to, this new community interest company appears to have a business interest in the running the premises. Whether they own it or rent it is immaterial. In terms of the bits you say about no one having voted, etc., if they apply for a club premises certificate, then they need to comply with the law regarding club premises certificate. It requires a membership of more than 25 members. It has to have rules. It has to have a copy of the rules, including the application, etc. But this is a licence like your box standard pub would be, so it doesn't have to have any of that to it. If that's just.
Okay, we'll go out and deliberate, and then we will come back again. Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry, it must have seemed a very, very long time. I just want to ask one question before, which we will then go out again and then come back in again with our decision. But I just wanted to know of Mrs. Sturts, the opening times on page, what was it, 15 and 16. On page 15, apart from the one for the Sunday, which says 11 o'clock, but on page 16, it appears that, so the, where you've, on, for all the activities that are going to happen on page 16, it says Monday to Thursday, 12:30 to 11 o'clock. But actually, if you look over on page 15, it actually says midnight, proposed opening hours. I just wonder whether you could clarify for me and the committee as to what it should say.
The Wednesday night is when we have our pool night, so the bar would still be shut by 11 o'clock, but the premises would be vacated by midnight, because after we've had our pool matches, we like to go back and play a game of killer between the, so there would be no alcohol served after 11 o'clock, just we would stay in the premises till 12.
So what you're saying is that the times on the page 15 are the times that you are talking about, but the ones that are on page 16, which are, as I say, for the Monday to Thursday, are different. Yes, because it finishes at midnight on, sorry, we're talking Wednesday, sorry, yes. So Wednesday finishes, proposed opening hours are until midnight, so you'd have an hour after, because that one is the one that's not the same as Monday, Tuesday and Thursday.
Yes, that was probably my mistake.
So,
but the bar would always be shut during the week at 11 o'clock.
okay. Councillor Cousins, Councillor Casey, any more questions?
Yeah, of course.
Councillor Casey.
Can I ask the lady a question? It actually shuts at 12 o'clock for business, you're saying, and then afterwards you're having an hour doing whatever you're doing. Is that what you're saying?
No. No.
No, we shut the bar at 11
Yeah.
as through the week, but we'd stay on the premises till 12.
Well,
so we wouldn't be served alcohol after 11 o'clock.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's not the licensed sales. You decide to stay behind for your club or whatever you're doing, isn't it?
No.
You're still.
Well, we'd be stopped serving alcohol at 11, yeah. So, do I need to change anything?
Well, we'll go out and deliberate again and then we'll come back in again.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
and then we'll hopefully come back with a decision. Okay, thank you. I'm now going to read the following statement. Application number 24/00688/PremGR. Application for the grant of a premises licence in respect of Parkston Railway Club 2024, Hamilton Street, Parkston, Harwich, Essex, CO12 4PQ. The subcommittee has given careful consideration to this application. In reaching our decision, we have taken into account the views expressed by the applicant, Sarah Sturts, the representations made by Mr. Eric Bramall, representation by Mr. Gordon Ashford on behalf of Essex Police, along with the guidance issued by the Secretary of State and other matters set out in the Licensing Authority's own Statement of Licensing Policy. The decision of the subcommittee is to grant this application, but subject to the below conditions, namely, the premises licence holder shall produce a fire risk assessment for the premises to Essex Fire and Rescue Service, responsible for licensing and the licensing authority before any licensable activity can be undertaken. Confirmation from Essex Fire and Rescue Service that an inspection of the premises has been undertaken and are satisfied that the premises are compliant. Confirmation to be sent to the licensing authority from Essex Fire and Rescue Service before any licensable activity can be undertaken. The licence holder will be notified of this by the licensing authority. Fire alarm testing must be carried out weekly and a record kept on the premises and made available to authorised officers of the responsible authorities under the Licensing Act 2003 upon request. The grant of the licence is also subject to the 18 mandatory conditions agreed between Essex Police and the applicant. The mandatory conditions are as seen on pages 21 to 23 of today's agenda. The sale of alcohol must cease by the end of the time stipulated below and being 30 minutes before the closing time. Monday, 12:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. to 20... Oh, I beg your pardon, may I start? No, that is correct. I'll start that section again. The sale of alcohol must cease by the end of the time stipulated below and being 30 minutes before the closing time. Monday, 12:30 to 22:30. Tuesday, 12:30 to 22:30. Wednesday, 12:30 to 22:30. Thursday, 12:30 to 22:30. Friday, 12:30 to 12:30, just gone midnight. Saturday, 12 o'clock to 12:30 midnight. And Sunday, 1 o'clock to 10:30 p.m. The hours proposed for the licensable activity on Sunday being 1 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning is hereby amended to 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 2300, in line with the proposed opening hours for Sunday. Finally, I must mention that all parties who are aggrieved by this decision of the subcommittee have the right of appeal to the Magistrates' Court. This decision was made today, 27th of January 2025, and will be confirmed in writing to all parties. Thank you. And that is the end of this part, and going back to my agenda. I believe the date of the next scheduled meeting hasn't been specified, so we will do that at another time. Thank you. Thank you everyone for attending.